What's up, everyone? It's your boy Scott. Welcome to Scott Reports. Today I'm bringing you an anime review of Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans Season 2, Episode 21, Episode 46, whatever you want to call it. The battle's over, not entirely the war, as Tekkadan was forced to retreat in this episode. And I'm mad that I didn't, turn the camera back on last week. This happens a lot of times where after I think about the episode a little bit more in retrospect, something always comes up and then I go, oh yeah, you know what, that would have been a good thing. And after watching last week's episode, I had a feeling that the course of how things went in this episode was how it's going to turn out, with Tekkadan having to be forced to retreat because they were losing. They had to retreat and they have nowhere else to go but back to Mars at this point, because Tewaz, they can't help him, or they won't help him anymore. Of course, Galahorn is now all aligned against Farid, so they only have the little bit of soldiers that are with Farid to help them. They're out there in the water with no help at all, and they were forced to retreat from this battle because Rustal's plan worked very effectively. And really, guys, at this point, I don't know how this is going to work for Tekkadan. The only thing that I can think of, again, Kudelia must have a big part in this series. I think that maybe she's going to use her power to rally some troops, and perhaps maybe Tewaz and McMurdo will come in and have some type of compromise to back them up a little bit, but that's going to be hard because at this point, with Tekkadan and Farid's faction basically being fugitives, who would risk their life to help Tekkadan at this point to get them out of this situation? And Rustal is always a step ahead. I mean, you have to commend, whether you like this guy or not, you have to commend his battle strategy, because he also has a major in the Mars side of things in their pocket. So even though Tekkadan's heading back to Mars, they're not granted entry because this major that he reached out to, he basically pulled Farid's card. He was like, you don't have any rank anymore. You're a former general. You're a fugitive. You're just a guy in the suit. So they can't even get back into Mars. And I think if they do, they're either going to have to sneak in somehow, or Kudelia is going to use a little bit of her pull to get them in. But things are not looking good for Tekkadan at this moment. And if you had any doubts at all, Shino is dead. I mean, I thought he was dead last week, but some people held on to hope. But yeah, he's definitely dead. He put his life on the line to make sure that Tekkadan escaped. And, I was with Orga on this. Orga didn't want to go back for the body, but Eugene calmed him down and pulled him back in and say, look, we can't waste this opportunity. Shino put his life on the line for us to escape. We need to take that and go. And with the Hodorubi exploding, it set off a shaft and a whole bunch of dust and debris for Tekkadan to escape by disabling a little bit of the radars and the vision of Rustal's side of the battlefield. So they were able to get back and make a fallback and escape. They lost some troopers and they lost some kids in the sense of doing it. That's just the way war works, but they're still dead in the water. I don't know where they can go from here. And Yamagi is once again forced to be put in the same position that Biscuit was in, that Takaki was in, as far as looking at Orga and how far he's willing to go with these ideals. People are going to keep losing. There's always going to be a last battle. One more battle is always the thing that we're going to keep hearing in this war. And the further they go, the more people in Tekkadan they're going to lose. Now, is Orga completely to blame for that? I kind of go back on my word on that, said he doesn't have a choice. He really doesn't. But he needs to come up with something. He needs to do something, because the way that he's going about it now, by the end of this series, everybody's going to be dead. And then with Farid's not going to stop either. Farid is so charismatic. He's so inspiring. He's so good with his words that he's going to say the right things to make Orga keep going back into this battle, even when Orga starts to have a little bit of doubts about the things that he's doing. Because it seems like every time Orga starts to second guess it, there's Farid with that inspiring speech. Orga's like, only thing I care about is my people. I care about my people making it through. We're losing everybody. And Farid is basically like, well, let's honor them and keep going and win this war. Let's do one more battle. And this one more battle is just going to keep going and going and going until Tekkadan is ultimately dead. But that's just some of the things that went on. I mean, it was some good things to indulge on in this episode. Like, for example, the battle between Mikazuki and Julieta's over. I mean, she straight up got wrecked like we knew she would. I mean, we knew that once Mikazuki got serious, she was going to get bodied. She was going to be out of here. He tried to go check on Shino. She stopped him. Then he was like, look, I'm sick of you. I told you, you talk too much. I'm tired of your mouth. Get out my way. Get this mace right through her cockpit. So I I don't know how she lived. You know, it's been a lot of death in this series, but something else that they have been doing a lot of second chances. But as far as the things go with Julieta, I don't see where else they can go with her character besides her getting the cybernetic implants. I do like that she does not want that. That was a little bit of a unexpected turn for the character, because I thought she was gonna go ahead and go through with it and then, you know, become a robot like, you know, Vidara or whatnot. But no, she was like, I want to get stronger by my own power. So I took my hat off to her as a character for that, because that's a good way to go about it. She's still probably going to lose if she goes back out there in that battle, but even if she became a cyborg, it's nothing really else that you can do with this character besides maybe have her come back a little bit stronger, take out another character, but she's still going to get wrecked in the process, even if she becomes a robot. So I think the best thing for her is to probably bow her out of the battle. I think we're going to see her again. She's going to lose, which is going to be predictable, but maybe she'll just get a little bit stronger. I don't know where else they can go with the character, but I do like that she decided not to take the treatment. It's probably still going to happen. Somebody's probably going to force her to do it. They may do it while she's like in her stasis, but she doesn't want it on her own. And if it does happen, if she does get the cybernetic implant, after that it's going to be a little bit tragic because it'll be against her will. I think the highlight of this episode was Galeo versus Farid. I mean, the Chimeras versus the Bale. It was a pretty good battle, I must admit. And us as a community, as a Gundam community, we both have been on both sides of the field with these two guys, because both Farid and Galeo are right. I mean, they both have a reason for doing what they're doing, and I like Farid, what he said, and I like what Galeo said in this battle as well, because Farid was like, you mock my ideals, but you went and got this treatment to become a monster, so you kind of went back on what you wanted to do. And then, you know, Galeo, he's basically like, well, you know what? I took your idea. This monster that you made me was your idea. So now I'm going to use that to defeat you. They're both right. I mean, Galeo deserves his revenge. What McGillis did to him was fraudulent, it was scumworthy, but at the same time, after seeing Farid's background, you can't argue with him as well. So I'm good with being divided on that. I mean, I'm still a little bit more towards Farid, but I've never said that Galeo doesn't deserve his revenge, and that's what makes him such a good character. But I want to speak about the Bale. I mean, pretty much this suit just seems like it's an upgraded version of the Grimgird. I mean, there is nothing different about it at all. It's just another suit with swords, unless it still has some type of trump card under his sleeve. But if it did, you would think that McGillis would have used it by now to turn the tide of battle if this was supposed to be an oh-so special suit. Or maybe he just haven't unlocked it yet, but he needs to do something. Other than that, he could have kept the Grimgird. I mean, maybe that's just a little bit of spite for me because I actually have that gunpla on my desk right now, and now I have to get the Bio because it's a new version of it. Gundam marketing. I guess I can't be mad at that either. They want to push these suits, and there's a lot of things that we've seen that squander its potential, like the Floros, for example. It had this cool look, it transformed, and we only seen it maybe once or twice, and it didn't really do anything besides be like a husk of sacrifice. So there's that. I guess we just gotta deal with that with Gundam being a marketing thing overall because they need to push those gunplas. But I was expecting a little bit more out of the Bale, and we still got a little bit of battle to go. He still has a little bit to show out. Galeo's still out there for him to fight again, but I like the dynamic and I like the conversation that these two had, showing that once again there's a gray area in war all the time. No one is exactly right. Even the enemy still has a reason to do what they do, and sometimes they can be right as well. And of course we did have loss in this episode, but it wasn't as big as, you know, with the Shino death or, you know, like with Lofter or anything like that. We did lose Izurugi. We lost Izurugi in this battle, and he died actually getting in between Galeo and Farid, because Farid was out of there. He was about to be gone for that drill, and he decided to take the drill for Farid so he can escape with Tekkadan. And Galeo's basically like, you fool, he is using you. And, you know, Izurugi, I wish we would have got a little bit more time with this character besides him just being a second-hand man, because he said, I don't care. I don't care that he's using me. You don't come from where I came from. You're raw blood. You don't know what it's like to be from the colonies or be next to nothing. What Farid gave me was a dream. He gave me a dream that I saw a future with, and I still believe in that future, even in my last breath, whether you think it's foolish or not. So props to Izurugi for that, taking the hat off. That was a really good scene. I really like that. And now that he's gone, even though he was in that Shovel Knight suit, I'm gonna kind of miss him in a bit because he was very noble. He was very noble, And, you know, he was kind of like an advisor. He was there for Infrar-Ed, and now he's gone too. It's just a matter of who's going to be left when this is all over. And speaking of losses, can we please rally? Can we get a hashtag something going for Akihiro? Can we please save this character? Please, please. He does not deserve to die. I do not want to see Akihiro die. If he falls, that's probably going to hit me more than anybody in this series because he's been through so much. He has a name across the anime community as Space Guts, and he doesn't deserve any more pain, any more hurt. As a matter of fact, we get to see more of that episode. As many people as he's lost, he's just happy that someone is still there to be there with him. And you know, the kids from the human debris, he gave them the name Atlan. There's one kid that came back, he lost the arm, and he was like, I wish I would have died out there. The Akihiro's like, that's foolishness. You're still alive, and you know what? I'm glad you're still here. And to see them tear up, man. I mean, it was a lot of feels in this episode as well, especially with Yamagi and, you know, with the revelation that he was in love with Shino. I mean, we knew it already. Eugene knew it, and just to see that come to light, it was kind of bad to see him go down that same route as Biscuit and Tamaki, to go down the same route, but basically scolding Orga by saying, how many people are we gonna lose before you remember that this battle was lost? This was a very fast-paced episode because most of it was war and just the realization that Tekkadan has to retreat. And can we also give an applause for Mikazuki? I mean, for him to start off as the typical Stone Cold protagonist that we've seen in Gundam, like with Setsuna and, you know, with Hiro Yui and the people before him, he's gotten a lot of development because, you know, Orga, this is beating Orga down. That is all I've asked for, is for them to show us a little bit more of him having regret for what he's doing and a little bit of second guessing. And you guys pointed this out to me as well. This is not by my credit at all. Mikazuki actually took the blame for this. He was like, I'm the reason that you're doing this. If I was stronger, if I would have took these people out, then we wouldn't have to worry about this at all. So for him to acknowledge that, for Orga to, you know, look and say, you know what, you're right. We said we're going to mow them all down together, and that's what we're going to do. For Mikazuki to step up and say that I need to be stronger, because if I would have wiped all these people out, we wouldn't be in this position. And for Mikazuki taking the blame for Orga to keep going forward because he's always been his weapon, I mean, that's props for the character. I absolutely love it. So yeah, that was the episode in a nutshell. It looks like next week they're going to, it looks like they will get into Mars somehow, and I think that's going to be by Kudelia's doing, so we'll just have to see how that works out. But let me know what you think about this episode and what you think is coming in the future. Again, I don't know. I think the only way that they're going to come out victorious is they're going to have to get help from Tewaz. Tewaz is going to have to come back, or maybe Kudelia has some type of pull, or maybe she'll go back to her father or something to get the people to override this major and decide to help. But at the same time, like I said, Tekkadan are fugitives who's going to be willing to risk their necks to help them out of this situation. And Infrar-Ed is now in a little bit of a jam as well, because now his rank means nothing. He's just in a suit that Rustal pointed out. It's like, if you don't believe in that religion, if you don't believe in that, what he's doing, or the suit and what it means, then he's nothing but a guy out there in the suit. So he is being a very formidable bad guy. So I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here, guys. Thanks for joining me as usual. If you like this video, go ahead and drop it a like, and if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as there's not shortage of content for you guys to indulge on this channel. And as I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now. Shows listen to me. I really appreciate that, so thanks for stopping by. And the Gundam comment section is always fun. It gets the most comments, it gets the most views. So I absolutely love interacting with you guys about this series, and I cannot wait to see what you guys think and to interact with you guys as well. So on that note, it's your boy Scott signing out. See you soon.